Imagine a country once written off as a failed state, and now we have witnessed it rise from the ruins to become one of Africa's most promising and stable economies today. Achieving such a turnaround demands bold reforms and a fundamental shift in economic philosophy. In Uganda, this transformation is driven by what we know as Musevenomics. Musevenomics represents the economic management policies and philosophy implemented by President Yoweri Museveni that have transformed Uganda from a failed state in 1986 to one of Africa's most promising and stable economies today. Musevenomics seeks to transform Uganda into an independent, integrated, self-sustaining upper-middle-income economy by 2040, where every Ugandan prospers. Musevenomics is not just about the economic history of Uganda, it's our roadmap to prosperity. By 2040, this philosophy aims to deliver a $500 billion economy, making us better than Denmark at $449 billion, Malaysia $444 billion, Philippines $497 billion, and in the same league with Norway, which is $504 billion. Such an economy means better healthcare, education, infrastructure, and living standards for every Ugandan family from Kampala to the remotest villages. Musevenomics is more than numbers and policies. It is a promise of prosperity based on a solid foundation and gains. Musevenomics for my country and my development.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another episode of our discussion. Like I told you, we're going to be having so many discussions around what the government is doing, around different projects of the government. My name is Janet Mutes again, and I'll be your host for today. Last week when we met, we talked about Musevenomics. Musevenomics is a big giant that has been in town, being talked about by everyone. But last week we got to know exactly what Musevenomics is about. And I hosted Dr. Katende, the Executive Director from Uganda Development Forum, and he explained to us exactly what Musevenomics is. And from my own understanding is that Musevenomics is an economic philosophy that has transformed Uganda from a failed state, from a state that people didn't want to associate with, to a state that we are proudly calling home today, the Pearl of Africa. A state with good security, a state with good infrastructure, a state with so many good things that are happening. And we give thanks to the president for all that. Today, again, we're hosting Dr. Katende. He might be our visitor for so long. So again, we're hosting Dr. Katende Edward, the Executive Director, Uganda Development Forum. And last week when we had a discussion, he talked about pillars and principles of Musevenomics. First, he explained further about the pillars, but the principles were so many that we didn't go in detail because they're so detailed and they need to have their own time. So we agreed that we're going to have different sessions talking about these different principles of Musevenomics. But today we're going to talk about one of the principles of Musevenomics, and that is monetizing of the subsistence economy. But first, let's welcome Mr. Katende. You're welcome once again, Mr. Katende.
Oh, thank you, Janet.
Thank you so much for your time.
Again.
Yes, I know you're a busy man, but thank you for giving us time to come and explain these things to us.
It is important.
Ugandans are hungry for information. They want to know. And also, you can't run a country where people don't know. You really need to inform people so that people are also able to defend themselves. So last week we talked about Musevenomics, and you explained to us what Musevenomics is all about. And if I'm not wrong, you told us it's the economic philosophy that has transformed Uganda from a failed state to a state that it is today, where everyone wants to associate with, a state that has grown so much, with so many gains that we are protecting. So last week when we talked about Musevenomics, we talked about the principles of Musevenomics, and one of the principles was monetizing of the subsistence economy. It's a big principle, and this economy, we need to we need to know how have you monetized it. So I want you to just explain to us that principle before we go into detail about it.
Thank you, Janet. Like I said last week, Musevenomics is anchored on 7 pillars. So the pillars enable us to understand why the government of Uganda, under the leadership of President Museveni, does things the way they do them, or undertake or execute or develop and implement policies the way they do them. But among the 7 pillars which I mentioned, one was economic inclusivity, that nobody should be left behind. Then we also talked about the principles of Musevenomics, which are 12, and they help us to answer the question of what? The things that the president and his government have done consistently since they came to power in 1986. And one of those 12 interventions of things that they've done consistently for the last 39 years is monetizing the subsistence economy. In 1986, about 85% of Ugandans were in subsistence. Subsistence basically means somebody is just working for stomach.
President says so.
In Kampala, it is Zenkola Zendia. So if you have any problem, if the child falls sick, you can't take them to hospital. If the child goes to a school and they tell them to pay school fees, you have nothing. So the government of President Yoweri Museveni is desirous to ensure that every household earns a decent income that enables it to afford the basics of life. During COVID-19, he listed the basics of life and he said there are 9. There is food, which is number 1. 2, you talk about shelter. You talk about education. You talk about clothing. You talk about health. He separated the health and the medicine. So he talked about the medicine. He talked about security. He talked about infrastructure, but he also talked about spirituality. But spirituality, for example, all religions, for example, in Uganda, the born-again Christians or the Christians are talking about the tithe. So if you go to church, the Bible says it is a sin to come to the house of the Lord empty-handed.
Empty-handed, yes.
So the Muslims have their zakat. Even the Waganda have a regard. So spirituality is also a need, a basic human need.
Yes.
So the government of NRM wants every household to have that income that enables it to afford all of those basic human needs. So for a very, very long time, the Ugandan households were only working for food to eat, especially those in the rural areas. Shelter, they could build any house. So you go to the bush, cut trees, get grass, roof it, get some water, mix with soil, come up with mud. So you build a mud and water house. So you sleep, but the conditions were not good. When it comes to medicine, certainly they would just go and pick herbs to treat something they don't even understand. So sometimes you get a fever and you feel it is malaria, then you say, let me go for Mululuza. But actually, it could be an infection, which is telling you even a bigger problem, which you can only know when you go to the hospital. So the people who work for the stomach alone in the villages, who have no income, these are the issues that they face. So they are not able to meet their basic human needs, the 9 of them. So because of that, and using the first pillar which I talked about, on rationality, which is data, evidence-based decision making, the government of Uganda in 1986 found that 85 of us were living like that. That number, of course, as a result of a number of interventions, so like in Tandikwa, they brought Operation Wealth Creation 2013. There was NADZ before that. Until later, they brought in the PDM, the Parish Development Model, in Uganda and others.
Livelihood program.
Yeah, so all these are aimed at helping the people to have the means of survival. The people in this category, those who work for the stomach alone, they are in what we call the vicious cycle of low income or no income. Some of them have nothing, no income at all. because you don't have an income, you don't save.
Mm.
And because you don't save, you cannot invest because investments come from savings. Now, if you don't invest, you will not earn. So it becomes a cycle. So, like if you don't work, you'll not eat. So if you don't invest, you will not earn. So as a result, the government had to come in to break that cycle. To say, if these people have no income and therefore they have no savings, how do they invest? So let me give them a factor of production called capital. So put capital in so that they can invest in an income generating activity, start generating incomes. As they generate incomes, they start saving. As they save, the investments start growing. So you have kick-started the progress. So that is what monetizing the subsistence economy is about. Government, as we remember, we talked about the among the key tenets of Musevenomics is that the government intervenes in strategic areas. So where you have 85% of your people working only for the stomach, it is a strategic area. And there is a correlation between such people and poverty. So you have to fight poverty as well. So they had to intervene and bring in capital, enable these villagers or urbanites who are trapped in that cycle to start earning. When they earn, they start saving, they start investing. And if you give them time, you will now start seeing them growing. And ultimately, as they grow, they start being able to enjoy to meet their basic human needs. They will be able to feed themselves. They will be able to take their children to school. They will be able to treat their children when the children fall sick, or even ensure that the children live a healthy life. Because sometimes health and medicine are very different. I can be a health person because of my lifestyle, exercising, eating well, sleeping in a mosquito net, and all those kind of things. But in the event that I fall sick, I should have money to pay for a professional diagnosis, and then the prescription. If they prescribe any medicine, I should be able to buy the medicine. So that is the rationale for monetizing the subsistence economy.
Thank you so much. Now, when you talk about investing or giving in capital, it brings me back to, because I was going to talk about this monetizing of subsistence economy. Like you said, there's so many programs that came in from way back. Operation Wealth Creation, NADS, all these were about monetization of subsistence economy. And we see yoga, we see PDM. But I really wanted to talk about PDM most because it's the most recent, and it's the talk now. And like you said, injecting in capital so that people use the capital to grow. There's PDM. I want you to tell me more. I know everyone has talked about PDM, but we can't fail to talk about it because it's there and it's still continuing, and it's doing a lot of wonders. So what is PDM and how does it work? I really want you to explain to me in a layman's language that someone down there can know, even someone who hasn't been interested in joining these circles to benefit from the money can know exactly what is PDM and how does it work. Entice them.
PDM is a strategy of government of Uganda to accelerate wealth creation and improving the quality of life of Ugandans by delivering services closer to the people. So it's a strategy whose main objectives, there are two objectives. One is to accelerate wealth creation at a household level, and two, improving the quality of life of all Ugandans. And how do they achieve that? By delivering services to the people. So it's a long list of services. Like I told you, the vision is for every household to have an income. So to get that income, that household needs many services. It needs capital as a factor of production. It needs training, for example, on entrepreneurship, which is also another factor of production, but also on good agronomic practices that would enable the person to improve. They need mindset change training. They need storage. they need health services close to them, education services close to them, they need security. It's a long list, about 11, 13, various services. So what PDM does is to put them together and deliver this as a package of services to the people, but using the parish as the epicenter for service delivery, purely for planning, budgeting, and service delivery. So the parish is the lowest administrative unit. That is where we have the lowest level, where we have a government employee.
Yes.
At the village level, we don't have any government staff. What we have are political leaders, the LC1. But at the parish level, we have a parish chief, a town agent, or a ward administrator in Kampala. So that is our last man or woman standing. So we aggregate all of the services and deliver them to the parish with that chief as the epicenter for that distribution.
Okay.
So the government for a long time was delivering these services, but at some stage they realized, before decentralization in 1992, that everything was determined from Kampala and the services were not reaching the people. Then they said, okay, let us decentralize. We go to the parish, to the district. Then we go to the sub-county. And a lot of the services were accessed at the sub-county level. Then they realized the sub-county is very far for many people. So they said, no, let us now move it further down so that the people of Uganda can feel their government near them. So the emphasis over the last 5 years has been on getting those people who are trapped in the subsistence economy and move them into the money economy. They start earning. When they start earning, they start also learning the habits of the successful people in terms of wealth. They start creating their own wealth. They will save. They now start accessing other services. But beyond the capital, the government is also taking other services. For example, they train. There is extension services. They train the farmers on how, if I borrow the money to invest in piggery, they will train me on how to run the piggery business.
Mr. Katende, if I may come in, sorry for interfering. I wanted to ask, so you're giving these people money, yes?
Yes.
Because you're giving me money, probably I haven't even signed anywhere, and you want me to use this money. And these groups of people have people that are illiterate, people that didn't go to school. Sometimes you find they have never received that kind of money in their lives. They have never earned it. So what training or support is provided to these community members to enhance their skills and knowledge for them to be able to use this money wisely to bring out what the government wants?
Yeah, certainly the government is using all its structures to deliver the necessary training to these people. For example, when the PDM was introduced, every borrower was required to first undergo training on developing a business plan. So they would teach you how to develop a business plan. They will train you on how to run your farm, to set up a farm. You have to put in what we call sweat capital. That before you come to the circle, you'll have a piece of land. You have to show that you have cleared the land. You've used your own effort. You clear the land. You plant you dig the holes, and then that is if you're going to do coffee, for example. And then you come to your circle for the capital to buy the inputs. But during that time, they will train you. We are also digitizing all transactions. So everybody who has received money under the PDM, there are currently a total of 3.3 million Ugandans. All of them are on a system called the PDMIS, which was developed by government of Uganda. They are all registered with a telephone number, with a national ID. We know where they are. So that exercise, you train them. We have been training them on using other systems, like on digitization, the digital skills. For example, we use a mobile money wallet called Wendy, which was developed by government of Uganda banks. That has enabled us to reach Ugandans even in the remotest part of Uganda. It enabled us to trace the money right from Bank of Uganda to the person that has received it.
Okay.
So even if there is a fraud, we will trace that money and find who the fraudster was.
Okay.
So it becomes easier for example, the authorities to apprehend the fraudsters. So it was also enabled us to have accountability. So, but everybody has been trained on using Wendy as a mobile wallet. Then recently, having seen that the traction on training was limited, some people were just doing it for the sake of doing it. So we found out that the training was not as effective as we wanted. So the government introduced a concept called the practical training centers, which is based on a farmer field school concept that was introduced in Uganda in 1999 by the Food and Agriculture Organization. So we adopt all the principles of the farmer field school concept. What is that concept? The farmers converge around a model farmer, somebody who actually knows what to do.
Okay.
It's not a classroom. It is not a blackboard thing. You go and converge around a model farmer. Practically. So that at that farm, even the extension officer comes to learn with the farmer, because you may find that some farmers know much more than our extension officer, because they are practical. So they learn from each other. Like the Bible says, as iron sharpens iron, so a man shall sharpen another. These farmers sharpen each other. So we call it experiential learning.
Okay.
So now, whatever they learn with basically doing, they learn by doing. At the practical training center, they will go and do on their farms, in their homes. So nowadays, especially this financial year, anybody who is accessing PDM money must go through that practical training center first before they access the money. Even after accessing the money, they are expected to continue going back to the training centers, because the real business starts when you get the money, buy your piglet, buy your seedlings and the plant. That's when you discover the diseases. That's when you discover the deficiencies. That's how you see maybe there's too much water. So you keep going back and learn from your fellow farmers and grow your farm over time. So far, that is where we are. We piloted it first in a few districts, and it is now spreading across the country.
Okay, that's good. I think before we go to something else, I wanted to just make it clear. Is this money for paying back? So when the government gives it to me, am I supposed to use it and be able to pay back, or I'm not paying it back?
Okay, for PDM, like I said, the PDM is taking various services, a package of services. So it's not just about the capital, but they bring all these services, including extension, or business development services. But the money, which is capital, is a grant from government of Uganda to the parish. If I use Kagerekamu parish, which is my parish, the money, 100 million every year, is sent to Kagerekamu parish. The parish set up what we call the parish development model circle. They elected their leaders. And this was as a result of the president's own findings. Going back to our pillar number 1, if you remember, of rationality, evidence-based decision making. So as he moved around in the 2020-21 elections, people were complaining about programs like NADS and OWC. They would say, they are sharing money or these things that you give us among themselves, their friends and family. So he was not happy. How I've been sending a lot of support, but you mean the deserving people are not getting it, and these others are the ones who have been getting it. So he said, I changed the model. So he changed the model to say, you as the parishioners, identify the beneficiaries. Let them identify the enterprises. Prepare them. I give you the capital. Here is the capital. So you put the money in the, so they elect their leaders who are the ones supposed to disburse this money. So after electing the leaders, those leaders open a bank account. Money is sent to the bank account. They also connected to our mobile money wallet. So they start paying money to each other. So from the circle to an individual household, every household receives 1 million shillings. To that individual household is getting a loan from the parish circle.
Okay.
The idea is that that circle, that loan, you can go use it for a maximum of 3 years with a grace period of 2 years.
Okay.
To generate money from your incomes, you start repaying
Yes.
the loan to the circle so that the circle can lend it to other people. So over time, that circle will become a village bank within that parish. It becomes our people's bank. People are saving, people are borrowing,
Okay.
and then it grows into something bigger. So the money is not free. It comes with an interest of 6%. It is the best interest you have in the country.
Yes.
It's just inflation plus a few percentage points. It is cheaper. It's long. It's repayable over a period of 3 years. But you have a grace period of 2 years, meaning you don't have to pay within the 2 years. So you focus on running your business. After
The business has grown.
after 2 years, the business has generated some money, it has stabilized, then you start paying for that 1 year. Until you have to repay everything after 12 months. Yes.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. So those of you who are asking, the money is not for eating. Don't take it and think you'll not be asked. There's accountability. So when you take this money, make sure you use it wisely. There's a lot of education out there where you're learning about the government is equipping you with skills and knowledge on how to use this money, on how to grow it. So take the money, use it, but make sure that you remember that you have to pay this money. But I think the government has been kind enough because 3 years, 2 years grace period, and 6%, really, by the time the 3 years come to an end, I am sure the business will have stabilized for you to be able to pay back this money. But then it brings me to a question of we hear the very few people who are getting this money, that not everyone is getting this money. So how do you make sure that everyone is actually benefiting? How do you think this money is helping everyone? Because they feel like this money just goes to one person, it's only benefiting a few people, and not everyone is benefiting. So how do you make sure that, or how do you think PDM is benefiting everyone?
I will probably answer you with an illustration. Since we are talking about monetizing the subsistence economy. Every parish receives 100 million. That 100 million, every household must receive 1 million. No more, no less. Even the costs for processing the loans and even withdrawal charges have been separately paid for by the government. So the beneficiary receives 1 million in cash on their phone. So when I receive my 1 million, what happens to me as a household? Let me say I am the one, and my business is going to be poultry farming. I have identified the poultry as my business. So I have part of the 1 million goes to the suppliers. The person who supplies me with a day-old chick. Let me say I put 150 million. That person is a beneficiary. The one who sells day-old chicks. If I wasn't there, my business will not be there. The other person, the other thing they would invest in is construction materials, because the chicken must be in a house. So the person who is selling construction material, let's say Waiswa, now has a buyer of construction materials. Then the other category is the feeds. Sometimes the feeds could be coming from a local cooperative, or it could come from a dealer in the parish. So that person is also receiving money, so business, because of the 1 million.
Yes.
Now, the person who sold me the day-old chick probably employs 2 or 3 people in the parish. So those people are now getting a wage. So because there is a business and we are 100 of us or 50 of us, so they are able to pay a wage to his employees. The construction person will also have their own people.
Yes.
So is the feeds person. So the people who are employed, these employees who are also sons and daughters of that parish, they use that money to buy food, which they eat at home. They use that money to pay school fees. Even if they take their children to a government school, the school sometimes requests for 40,000, 50,000. So these people now have an income which they can use to pay that school fees. They buy data, they buy airtime, and all the different businesses that are involved here are getting customers. On the other hand, that is the 600,000 out of the million.
Yes.
But on the other side, I, as the PDM beneficiary, I have kept 400,000. That 400,000 I have other expenses to pay for myself. So I will need this man, the delivery guy, because when I buy the day old chicks, I need to transport them to my place. When I buy the material, the poles, the cement, and other sand, this guy will take it, bring it to me. So the delivery man, all of a sudden, now has a business because of my small farm. So at my farm, I most likely I also employ 1 or 2 casual workers. So after they will come and construct the house, they can enable me to clean it up every now and then. So they earn as well. So the people who sell food also have my business. So you find that about 25 to 30 people and deriving their livelihood now on that 1 million.
Yes.
It is just being distributed in the parish. The trick is it should not leave the parish.
Yes.
If it leaves the parish, it must not be on consumptive items. It should be to bring in capital. For example,
Yes.
the cement guy will now need to restock the capital. I mean the cement.
The cement.
Now, fast forward 3 months later, the chicken are ready for the market. I sell my chicken. I earn more than what I put in.
Yes.
So when I sell my chicken, I reinvest the money to expand my business. The business starts growing. So which means the other people are now assured of my business, a repeat business, which is the main objective of any businessman. That how do we know? I mean, the objective of any businessman is that the customer must be satisfied. And how do we know a satisfied customer? We know by repeat business. They buy again. So me, now after I want to restock my business, I want to expand it. So I go back to the chick seller, the feed seller, and I have repeat business. But also I will save in my circle. Because this circle, PDM circle, is for saving.
It's for saving.
So I also repay my loan. So when I repay my loan, that money will go and be on lent to other people in the parish, so they can also benefit and start that cycle. The savings which I am putting in, the circle will also use it to lend to other beneficiaries in the parish. So you find that ultimately, like over 6 months, you have touched 25 to 30 people. 25 to 30 people on 1 million.
Yes.
But there are 100 people like that. So multiply 25 to 30 by 100. But there are also 3.3 million of such people across the country. So if you multiply that by 25 to 30, you find that very many people are benefiting from the parish development model just using that concept alone. And that explains why our economy, since the PDM was introduced, our economy is growing and growing faster than it was before. So that is a big multiplier. Yes.
Thank you so much. I think it's it has really opened up my eyes, because even me, I didn't really understand how this money works, because I thought when you give me this money as a family, probably like I didn't know how it really touches different people. I didn't really understand the science of how it touches different people to find that everyone has used this money. And like you said, if 1 million can touch 30 people, what's over 100 million?
Yes.
So really, we're going to have a parish bank soon, and Uganda is doing great. But we have people who are misusing this money. People are getting this money, and I'm sorry to say, some of them are taking it to drink alcohol. But also here, some are getting this money and marrying second wives. When the man gets the money, they just marry someone else. You know, in the villages, marriage ceremonies are very cheap. So how are you managing that?
Of course, that is unfortunate that people that have borrowed this money to run a business that will sustain them over years, they choose to spend it on consumptive items. However, although this is not the intended objective, however, if I am to use this money to marry somebody, marrying is not something that just falls in place within a day. It starts with dating, courtship. So any man who wants to win this woman's heart will have to invest in that woman. So the woman will say, darling, I want to make my hair. So this man now uses this loan and gives it to his darling. The darling now goes to a local salon. That local salon did not have that customer. So now that is the wealth creator in the parish. That local salon employs other people. It also trains young women to do hair. So because this man has put his money elsewhere, it is not a lost cause. Even in the Bible, Jesus gave an example of the parable of I think the talents. That one was given one, another was given two, another was given five. So the one who was given five invested. Those are the good ones in PDM. The one who was given one did not invest anything. And the master was so furious with him. But the system, he removed that one and gave it to the other one who knows how to multiply. So this 1 million that is consumed by the beneficiary goes to a real wealth creator. The wealth creator now has business. And when they have business, over time, you will find they are the ones now employing these so-called drunkards who drank the money. Over time, they will be the one going to fetch the water for them. They will be the one fetching firewood for them. So they will continuously be employed. But it's not the desire of government. The problem would be if the drunkard put that money out of
The parish.
the parish. For example, imported beer comes into the parish. They buy it, the money leaves the parish. But if it is spent in the salon, on Marua, the Marua is made in the parish. So now the Marua maker, the brewer, is happy because they are customers. Now the person who grows sorghum will have a market for their sorghum in the local economy. And now there are also social benefits in that exercise. But it is not the intention of government. The intention is that every household should use this money to create wealth. But if they don't, and there are wealth creators in the parish, those wealth creators will attract that money and start creating wealth, expand their businesses, employ these people who are not natural entrepreneurs. Because not everybody is a natural entrepreneur. So over time, there will be people who will be as a calling, who will be working for others. Then there are those whose calling is to create jobs for everybody. So those who do not feel that entrepreneurship is their deal, they are the ones who consume. And eventually, the wealth creator will expand and will attract them as his employees. And ultimately, everyone will be happy. The parish will also grow. So I don't think it's a mistake that the president sent the money and that people are drinking it. There are unintended benefits.
Yes.
Even if
true.
they drink it, as it is within the parish. So the parishioners must ensure that the parish economy is booming with business.
Thank you so much. Parish development model is a program that we can talk about the whole day, but we don't have that time. So we are coming towards the end of today's session. But Mr. Katende, I want you to give me your final remarks. But in the final remarks, I want you to talk about this whole movement of the money. It has really interested me how this money is moving from one person to another. And I feel like if you can say it in Luganda, just for the Luganda community or any other community to just understand it in layman's language, how this money moves, and give us your final remarks about PDM. I probably call on people to participate in PDM and take it serious.
Yeah, PDM, based on current evidence, is a very transformative initiative. As we speak, 3.5 trillion has been sunk across the country. 3.3 million Ugandans have already accessed. Another half a trillion, 500 billion shillings were released and should be in the communities very soon. So it is a very transformative initiative, like I have explained. And the president has pledged that he will continue with the PDM. He actually pledged that he will treble it in some districts and cities where the population is bigger.
Yes.
For example, Greater Kampala, Mukono, Wachiso, Mpigi, where the population is big. But also in districts where the parish is very big. There are districts like in Strong where the parishes are small. And some of those districts, everybody has received money. There are also districts where the parish is big, but there are fewer people. In such parishes, everybody has received money. But in the parishes where the parish is so big and with a bigger population, the president will accelerate the rate at which people receive the money. He has pledged that he will increase this money 3 times. But of course, some of his critics are saying he should scrap PDM. And they want to invest that money in universities. But I think they are not aware of the statistics that very few people are in universities. And for universities, the government has an intervention already for that group. But the biggest problem is the people who are not in school, who are living hand to mouth on a daily basis. You want to give them a future. And these are the real gains that the president is asking all of us to protect. That if somebody is saying I'm scrapping PDM, all of the gains that we have will be completely destroyed within the first 100 days. That's what they said. So all that will be destroyed. But if we continue with this vision, the next 5 years, we will have one of the biggest people's banks in Africa, financing rural development from each corner, from Chisoro to Napak to Moroto. You go to Western Nile. Every corner of this country will be financed by that one giant bank. And what will be more interesting about it, it will be run by the people themselves for their own development. And these are some of the gains that I think His Excellency has been urging Ugandans to protect.
Thank you so much. Like you can hear, we're protecting the gains, and one of the gains that we're protecting is PDM. PDM has impacted so many, PDM has done a lot, and we shouldn't let it down. Let's protect that gain because it's developing a parish. We hear soon we're going to get a parish bank, and that would be a very good initiative because the parish, we know ourselves, we know our people, our children, so we are handling the bank ourselves, we know each other. It improves growth, and I feel like we should be proud of it because imagine you have a bank in your parish and you're able to get money anytime you want. You're working with people that you know, people that understand you, how you work, how your farm is. People are patient with you. So I feel like parish development model is good for all of us. Let's participate in it. If we're already participating, if already gotten the 1 million, please let's use it well so that we develop our parishes, and that means all of us are developing. So thank you so much, our viewers. Thank you so much, Dr. Katende, once again.
Thank you.
I hope we can get you, because there are 12 pillars of principles of Musevenomics, but today I've talked about only one. So my prayer is you create time for us that we can meet you again and talk about the rest of the principles, so that people know about this big giant of Musevenomics and actually the gains that we're trying to protect.
Thank you for hosting me.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, our viewers. I've been Janet Monetised. We'll meet once again next time.